Welcome to the Fantasy Addiction Network. Today we are talking Week 15 waiver wire pickups for the tight end position. All right, so starting at number 5, we are looking. This is a bit of a desperation play, but if you're in dire need of a tight end, you could do better than David Njoku. 37% owned. He does get to play the Cardinals this week, who are still the worst team against the tight end position in all of the NFL. I know it didn't work out last week with Vance McDonald, but he left the game early because of a concussion, so can't really blame too much on the Cardinals defense being good. They're still just as bad as they were. I would say that David Njoku is a decent dart throw this week if you need one. All right, now jumping to number 4, we have Mike Gesicki, who is 30% owned, the tight end for the Dolphins. He gets to play the New York Giants this week, who basically just lost the entire game last night, letting Zach Ertz get wide open. Now, I'm not trying to argue that Mike Gesicki is Zach Ertz, but we knew that the New York Jets was going to be a tough matchup for him. He still had 3 end zone targets where it just didn't go his way this last week. Look for him to rebound, especially if Parker ends up missing any time. Mike Gesicki will get more volume. I think he's a decent play going forward. Then he gets to play the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 16, who is not a great matchup, but still you could do much worse at the tight end position. I think Gesicki could easily score these next 2 weeks. Number 3, we have Noah Fant, who's 28% owned, the rookie tight end for the Denver Broncos. Looked really good this last week after only getting 1 reception in the week prior with Drew Lock. We're still in a little bit of a conundrum right now, not really sure who Drew Lock is going to continue to target, but the way Noah Fant played this last week cannot be ignored. He gets to play Kansas City this week, who's number 6 in points allowed against the tight end spot, and then Week 16 he plays Detroit, who are middle of the road. So great matchup this week, decent matchup next week. If Fant's play like this continues, you're going to be happy that he's on your roster. If he's out there, pick him up. Number 2, Ian Thomas. He is only 1% owned. He's the tight end for the Carolina Panthers. He gets to play Seattle in Week 15. He also has a decent Week 16 matchup, so I'm really excited if Ian Thomas gets to play without Greg Olsen. So that's the main hiccup here, is we don't know if Olsen will return. My hunch says that Olsen will not return. He's pretty much guaranteed to retire at the end of the season, and there's no real reason for him to risk it at this point. The Panthers are out of the playoffs, and Ian Thomas is looking good. So most likely, Greg Olsen will continue to be out the rest of the season, and Ian Thomas will be a good play going forward, but do keep an eye on that. But Ian Thomas looked really good this last week, and I would look for them to continue to use him in the same manner that they did. He becomes a really good play, especially with good matchups on the horizon. And then our number 1 pickup again is Tyler Higbee. Still only 21% owned even after the week before. He had a really good game, and then he had another good game this week. Look for that trend to continue. He gets to play Dallas this week in what should be one of the highest scoring games of the week. And then in Week 16, he plays San Francisco. Now, San Francisco is 30th in points allowed against the tight ends on the season, but in the past 3 weeks, they're actually 5th in most points allowed for the tight end. So with a bunch of injuries being sustained on San Francisco's defensive side of the ball, it's becoming more and more of a porous defense for the tight end. And with the Rams right now, it appears that Cooper Kupp is probably still battling with the injury he sustained a few weeks ago, so he hasn't been playing as good. Brandon Cooks is basically a ghost of himself, and we're not sure about Gerald Everett's status, but Higbee has become a very pivotal part of this Rams offense, and ever since they've started using him, they've really looked like their old selves, going back to their Super Bowl run last year. And I think Higbee has been a really big part of that. So I'm not too worried about the matchup in Week 16. If Higbee is out there, you're picking him up, start him this week and next, and ride him to fantasy glory. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.